Please, my mom whispered through tears. Just tell me why you stole from me. I couldn't breathe. She was staring at me, not Bree. Me. Like I was a criminal. Like decades of loyalty meant nothing. My sister had faked a $47,000 lawsuit and spoon-fed our dying mother forged invoices, fake bank statements, and a timeline cooked to match the will's final review window. But here's the part no one saw. While Bree played caregiver on Instagram, I was quietly collecting proof. Every fake receipt, every photoshopped check, every lie. I wasn't just going to prove my innocence, I was going to make her regret ever coming for me. But before we begin, let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. My name is Claire Markham, and I'm 36 years old. I run my graphic design firm from my Portland home office, where the heater rattles quietly while I work. My younger sister Bree has always been the family drama queen, showing up just often enough to cry prettily for our mother Patty, who's fighting late-stage MS. While I manage Mom's medical appointments, bills, and daily care, Bree floats in with her designer handbags and perfectly timed tears. The soft clink of my steeping xanthan tea marks another evening of sorting through the mess she's created. Most people don't realize that building a brand and orchestrating payback require the same skills: patience, planning, and perfect timing. I've spent a decade making other people's stories shine. Now I'll use those same tools to expose hers. But let me start from the beginning. The October afternoon started like any other. I'd just wrapped a client call and was heading out to grab my mail, enjoying the crisp air that made the maple leaves dance across my front walk. You know those moments when everything feels normal, right before your world implodes? Yeah, this was one of those. The civil court envelope sat between a Target circular and my electric bill, its official window glaring up at me. My stomach dropped before my brain could even process why. Have you ever had that feeling? When your body knows something's wrong before you do? I ripped it open right there on my porch, fingers trembling as I pulled out a stack of legal documents. The words swam before my eyes: Notice of Civil Action, and Elder Financial Abuse, and Plaintiff Brianna Markham. My own sister's name, typed in cold black letters, accusing me of... I had to sit down. Right there on my front steps, I sank into the concrete, the papers shaking in my hands. Bree was suing me. Actually suing me. For stealing from our mother. The complaint laid out a detailed timeline: alleged Venmo transfers, check forgeries, even ATM withdrawals, all supposedly funneled from Mom's accounts into mine over the past 8 months. 8 months of careful documentation, all of it completely fabricated. My throat closed up as I scanned the numbers: $47,000 in total. That's what my sister claimed I'd stolen from our dying mother. I stumbled inside, dropping my keys twice before making it to my home office. Every caregiver receipt, every bank statement, every single transaction I'd handled for Mom. I kept meticulous records, thank God. But my hands were shaking so badly I could barely open the filing cabinet. The rational part of my brain knew I could prove my innocence. The rest of me was having trouble breathing. That's when I saw it. The response deadline. 30 days. If I didn't file a formal answer to these charges within 30 days, I'd automatically forfeit. And not just the lawsuit. I'd be removed from Mom's estate planning entirely. The timing hit me like a punch to the gut. Mom's lawyer was reviewing her final estate updates right now, during a mandatory freeze period where no changes could be made. Unless, of course, there was evidence of criminal activity. The room started spinning. Remember when we were kids, and the merry-go-round would go too fast? That dizzy, sick feeling right before you either had to jump or throw up? That's what this felt like. Bree hadn't just accused me. She'd orchestrated this whole thing to coincide perfectly with Mom's estate review. This wasn't some emotional outburst. This was calculated. My phone buzzed on my desk, Mom's FaceTime ringtone cutting through my panic. For a second, I just stared at it. What would I even say? But you can't ignore your dying mother's call no matter how much you want to hide. I smoothed my hair, took a breath, and hit accept. Mom's face filled my screen, her silver bob messy against her pillow. Her eyes were red and swollen, tears tracking down her pale cheeks. The sight of her crying used to send me running to fix whatever was wrong. Now it just made me feel hollow. Please, she whispered, her voice breaking. Just tell me why you did it. The physical pain in my chest was so sharp I actually looked down, expecting to see a knife sticking out. But there was nothing there. just the invisible wound of my mother believing I could steal from her, that I would steal from her. "Mom," I started, but my voice cracked. What could I possibly say? How do you defend yourself against something so huge, so horrible, when the person you love most in the world has already decided you're guilty? The FaceTime call lasted 19 minutes. I know because I watched every second tick by, each one driving another nail into my heart as Mom begged me to just be honest. No rage, no shouting, just quiet devastation that hurt worse than any anger could. "Sweetheart, we can work through this," she whispered, her hands trembling as she adjusted her reading glasses. "But you have to tell me the truth." "Bree showed me her voice caught, "all the proof." "Mom, I swear I didn't." But the words died in my throat as she shook her head slowly, that same disappointed look she'd given me when I broke her favorite Christmas ornament in 3rd grade. Only this time, I hadn't done anything wrong. The bank statements, Claire, the transfers. Why would Bree make something like this up? Why indeed? The same question had been screaming through my head since I opened that envelope. But as Mom kept talking, about conversations I'd never had, about comments I'd supposedly made weeks ago, the pieces started clicking together. Bree hadn't just filed a lawsuit. She'd been laying groundwork, planting seeds of doubt, probably for months. I ended the call when Mom started crying again. What else could I do? Sometimes proving your innocence feels impossible when someone's already decided you're guilty. My lawyer's office smelled like leather and lemon pledge, familiar from the handful of times I'd needed contract review for my business. But this visit drained more than just my energy. The retainer alone wiped out one of my business accounts. "Elder abuse allegations are serious," Sandra warned, scanning the complaint. "We'll need to move fast on this." Fast meant expensive. I walked out feeling like I'd swallowed rocks. 3 days later, Bree's SUV appeared in Mom's driveway. Not just for a visit, she moved in. Within hours, her social media lit up with carefully filtered photos. Bree spoon-feeding Mom's soup, Bree adjusting Mom's pillows, Bree looking exhausted but brave in soft morning light. "Making sure Mom's comfortable, our family first, our daughter duty," read one caption. The likes and supportive comments poured in. Nobody mentioned how I'd been the one handling Mom's care for the past year, the doctor's appointments, the medication schedules, the middle-of-the-night emergency calls. The messages started trickling in. First from aunts and cousins, praying for your family during this difficult time. Then from old high school friends, here if you need to talk. Even my regular clients started getting weird. Projects got postponed, meetings rescheduled, everyone trying to distance themselves from the daughter accused of stealing from her dying mother. You know that saying about watching a train wreck in slow motion? This was worse. This was watching someone systematically dismantle your life while everyone cheered them on. Then came the post. I was up late reviewing court documents when my phone buzzed with another notification. Bree had shared a new photo. Mom's thin hand clasped in hers, hospital bracelet visible, late evening shadows making everything look soft and dramatic. The caption read, "Some people break hearts, others hold them. Blessed reminder, truth always wins." I barely made it to the bathroom before throwing up. The post went viral in our local circles. Shares, comments, hearts, everyone falling for Bree's performance. Local business groups I belonged to started quietly removing me from their rosters. The monthly networking meeting I'd attended for 3 years suddenly had limited space. That night, I sat in my dark kitchen, staring at my reflection in the window while the dishwasher hummed. 10 years of building my reputation, my business, my life, all unraveling because my sister knew how to craft a better story. The worst part? Mom's photo was still on my fridge, both of us laughing at her 70th birthday party, chocolate cake on our noses, back when being her daughter meant something simple and true. My phone lit up with another notification. Bree had posted again. "Grateful for these precious moments with Mom. The truth always comes out in the end." 300 likes already. I turned the phone face down on the counter. The truth? Right. Because in this twisted new reality, truth was whatever story people chose to believe. The next 2 weeks bled together in a haze of sleepless nights and dwindling bank accounts. Every morning brought fresh cancellations. First, the nonprofits, always quick to distance themselves from scandal. Then, the mid-sized businesses started going in a different direction. By week 3, Even my steady regulars were finding polite excuses to delay projects. I sat at my desk one Tuesday night, surrounded by stacks of bank statements and receipt copies, trying to document every financial interaction I'd had with Mom's accounts. The numbers blurred together until they stopped making sense. My tea had gone cold hours ago, forgotten like the granola bar I'd meant to eat for dinner. Remember when documentation meant collecting inspiration boards and client feedback? Now I was building a paper trail just to prove I wasn't a criminal. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't destroying everything I'd built. A notification popped up on my screen. Another community group post from Bree. Sometimes standing up for what's right means standing alone. Truth seeker, Chuck daughter duty. The photo showed her pretending to doze in a hospital chair, carefully positioned next to Mom's bed. 300 likes in 20 minutes. My stomach clenched. The comment section was worse. You're so brave. Stay strong, honey. Some people show their true colors when money's involved. I switched tabs to my business banking app. The numbers made me wince. Legal retainers don't come cheap, and Sandra's latest invoice had eaten through my emergency fund. 2 more clients had frozen their contracts that morning. At this rate, I'd be dipping into my mortgage payment by next month. The clock ticked past midnight as I cross-referenced another stack of receipts. That's when the message appeared, a simple LinkedIn notification from someone I hadn't thought about in months. Whatever's happening, I believe you. Need help? Marla Jensen. Former client turned casual acquaintance. She'd hired me 3 years ago to rebrand her consulting business after leaving her paralegal career. We'd stayed loosely connected, trading likes on business posts and the occasional coffee meetup. I stared at those words. I believe you. When was the last time anyone had said that? We met the next evening at a wine bar downtown, one of those quiet spots where the music stays low and the booths are built for private conversations. Marla looked exactly as I remembered. Sharp blazer, perfectly styled gray-streaked hair, and that intense focus that made you feel like your problems were the only thing that mattered. I've been watching this unfold, she said, sliding into the booth. The lawsuit, the social media campaign. It's methodical, calculated. My throat tightened. You've seen all that? Honey, everyone has. But here's what I've also seen. 10 years of you building a reputation for integrity. People don't fake that. She leaned forward. So tell me everything. I did. The whole ugly story spilled out over 2 glasses of Malbec. The lawsuit, Mom's devastation, Bree's perfectly orchestrated takeover of the narrative. When I finished, Marla sat back, a familiar gleam in her eye, the same one she'd had when planning her business pivot. Stop defending, she said simply. I blinked. What? Stop trying to prove your innocence. It's a losing game. She's got too much emotional leverage. Instead, she pulled out a notebook. We countersue. Hard. $2.8 million for emotional damages and business losses. The wine soured in my stomach. That's insane. Is it? Calculate the contracts you've lost, the future earnings impact, the emotional trauma, the damage to your professional reputation. She started writing numbers. This isn't just about money. It's about changing the story. Right now, you're the defendant. Let's make you the plaintiff. But that means opening up every detail of your life to scrutiny. Yes, being labeled aggressive instead of defensive. Absolutely. She met my eyes. Being willing to burn it all down to build it back right? That's the only way through this. There's one catch, she added, her voice dropping lower. For this to work, you'll need to let her believe she's already won. Can you do that? I thought about Mom's tears on FaceTime, about Bree's perfectly crafted posts, about my client's polite excuses, about that Christmas ornament from 3rd grade, the one I really hadn't broken, though no one had believed me then either. Later that night, I sat in my home office, cursor hovering over my project management dashboard. 10 active clients, 10 projects I'd poured my heart into, 10 relationships about to go on hold. Click, click, click. One by one, I marked them all suspended. The next morning, my phone buzzed with that dreaded notification. Bree Jensen started a live video. I shouldn't have watched, but like picking at a scab, I couldn't help myself. There she was, perfectly positioned in Mom's sunny kitchen, the one I'd repainted last spring while Bree was too busy with open houses. She'd arranged Mom's favorite teacup in the background, though I noticed she'd pushed aside the world's best mom mug I'd given years ago. Hi, everyone. Bree's voice wavered with practiced emotion. I know many of you have been asking about the situation with my sister. She dabbed at dry eyes with a tissue. It's been so hard, you know. Taking legal action against family, it goes against everything I believe in. My fingers clenched around my coffee mug. The ceramic burned, but I barely noticed. But sometimes, she continued, loving someone means holding them accountable. Mom raised us better than this. The comments flooded in. Heart emojis, prayers. You're so strong. Someone even tagged me with a pointed, shame on you. Behind my phone lay the freshly sealed documents, our official notice dropping the countersuit. Marla's strategy was working. The moment we'd withdrawn, Bree's posts had shifted from defensive to triumphant. She thought she'd won. My phone buzzed again, a text from Bree. I really hope you find peace with your choices. I showed it to Marla over lunch. She smiled that shark-like grin I was starting to appreciate. Perfect. She's getting cocky. Keep every message. We'd set up camp in Marla's home office, surrounded by monitors tracking social media feeds and archived posts. She'd shown me how to pull metadata from Bree's photos, revealing posting locations and edit histories. Remember those staged caregiver moments? Turns out most were taken hours apart, then posted to look sequential. Found something, Marla called out, scrolling through a Reddit thread. Username matches her old Xbox handle. Look at this comment from 6 months ago. There it was, Bree venting about inheritance drama. Sometimes you have to make people see the truth. We dug deeper. Old classmates' Facebook posts, LinkedIn connections, Twitter replies. Each thread led to another contact, another potential witness to Bree's real character. Wait, I said, pointing to a comment chain. That name, Sarah Winters. She was Bree's roommate sophomore year. Marla pulled up Sarah's profile. Currently living in Seattle, works in finance. Interesting. 3 hours and one very interesting phone call later, we had our gold mine. Sarah remembered everything, including Bree's late-night bragging about scripting the perfect paper trail to fix Mom's mistake with the will. I can't believe she actually did it, Sarah said during our recorded Zoom call. Her face was grim. But listen, there's something else you need to know. This isn't just about lying. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? 2 weeks before she moved out junior year, I caught her practicing signatures. Not just doodles. She had a whole sheet of my name, over and over. When I confronted her, she said it was just in case. I should have reported it then. Sarah leaned closer to her camera. She's not just lying. She's forging people's names. I glanced at Marla, whose eyebrows had shot up. This wasn't just about emotional manipulation anymore. This was fraud. We'll need a formal statement, Marla said, already typing. Everything you remember? Dates, if possible. The estate freeze period had just over 2 weeks left. Every day, Bree got bolder, thinking our dropped countersuit meant surrender. Her latest Instagram story showed her organizing Mom's finances, in the same home office where I'd spent countless weekends actually doing the books. You know what's funny about overconfidence? It makes people sloppy, and Bree had no idea we were just getting started. I stared at the growing evidence wall in Marla's office, sticky notes connecting patterns of deception across months and platforms. My sister thought she was writing the final chapter of our story. She hadn't realized she was only setting up her own fall. The next morning hit different. Marla had converted her dining room into a war room, 3 laptops, external drives, and enough caffeine to fuel a tech startup. We weren't just gathering evidence anymore, we were hunting lies. Start with the client emails, Marla said, pulling up folders on her main screen. Every accusation needs verification. I scrolled through the lawsuit exhibits. Bree had submitted dozens of emails supposedly from my clients, each describing instances of theft or fraud. My throat tightened reading their words, until I noticed something odd about the sender addresses. Wait, I said, leaning closer. McCarthy Design Group doesn't use Gmail. They have a corporate domain. Marla's fingers flew across her keyboard. IP logs. Got them. Every single email originated from the same device. She turned her screen toward me. Guess whose MacBook Pro that is? Remember that sick feeling when you realize someone's been living a double life? Multiply that by 1,000. My sister hadn't just lied. She'd created entire fake personalities. Look at the timestamps, Marla pointed out. She wrote all these within 3 days, probably copy-pasted a template. We dove into her iCloud backups next. Bree might have deleted the evidence from her phone, but cloud servers never forget. Text messages popped up like digital ghosts. Mom's getting worse. Mudar, perfect timing. Trust me, I'll get that will flipped if it kills her. Claire's too busy playing martyr to see it coming. My hands shook as I captured screenshots, organized them by date, labeled each folder. You know that saying about karma keeping receipts? We were building a whole damn filing cabinet. This is good, Marla murmured, updating her master spreadsheet. But we need more. Bank records? I pulled up the financial exhibits from Bree's lawsuit, supposed proof of my theft, bank statements showing suspicious transfers, canceled checks with Mom's signature. These numbers look weird, I said, squinting at a series of transactions. Marla leaned in. The formatting's off. Run a reverse image search on those check pictures. 3 minutes later, we had our answer. Every single check image had been lifted from Google Finance stock photos. My sister hadn't even bothered changing the dates, just photoshopped new numbers and signatures. Jesus, Marla whispered. This isn't just civil anymore. She committed identity fraud. The evidence wall grew. Each discovery led to 3 more. We tracked IP addresses, archived social posts, documented every digital breadcrumb Bree had carelessly left behind. My old graphic design skills came in handy, spotting inconsistent fonts and altered pixels in her forged documents. Add identity fraud to the witness list, Marla said, updating her color-coded spreadsheet. We'll need expert testimony on the forgeries. I was reviewing surveillance footage from Mom's bank, proving I'd never been there on the days Bree claimed, when my phone lit up, Dr. Hansen's number. That moment before you answer, when you know something's wrong, it's like time stops breathing. Claire? Dr. Hansen's voice was gentle but firm. We need to discuss your mother's condition. My hand gripped the desk edge. Marla stopped typing. The latest scans show significant progression. The medications aren't... He paused. We think your mother has about 10 days left. 10 days. 240 hours. The room tilted sideways. I understand this is difficult news, he continued, but we need to prepare. I'll be there in 20 minutes, I managed, already grabbing my keys. Marla touched my arm as I stood. Claire, the filing deadline. I knew what she meant. We had everything we needed to destroy Bree's case, to expose her lies, her fraud, her manipulation. The perfect revenge was right there, gift-wrapped in documented evidence. But Mom had 10 days. If we filed now, her final moments would be clouded by legal chaos and family warfare. She'd die knowing her daughters had torn each other apart. I stared at our evidence wall, hundreds of papers proving my sister was a monster. Then at my phone, still warm from the doctor's call. 10 days. I slumped in my office chair, staring at the evidence wall we'd built. Each paper represented a knife Bree had twisted into my back, but right now, none of that mattered. 10 days, maybe less. We need to think this through, Marla said, her voice gentle but firm. If we file now, it'll destroy Mom's last days. The words tasted bitter. She'll die knowing everything fell apart. Remember when you were little and time seemed infinite? Now I was counting minutes like precious coins, each one slipping away faster than the last. Marla nodded slowly. We can hold the filing. Everything's documented, dated, ready to go. But right now, she squeezed my shoulder. Right now, your mom needs peace. My phone buzzed. Bree had posted another Instagram story. This time, a carefully filtered photo of her, journaling Mom's memories. The caption read, "Capturing every precious moment with my best friend. End stage, MS. Caregiver. Daughter love." I zoomed in on the journal page she'd artfully displayed. The handwriting was supposedly Mom's, but I recognized those looping G's and tilted T's anywhere. Bree had always dotted her I's with tiny circles, just like the ones in this heartfelt message from Mom. She's writing fake notes now, I muttered, showing Marla. Pretending they're from Mom. Document it, she replied firmly. Screenshot everything. We'll add it to the file. The next few days blurred together. Every time I visited Mom, Bree was there, performing her one-woman show of devoted daughter. She'd set up a donation page, help support Mom's final journey, complete with staged photos and tearful updates. Thursday night, we had family dinner at Mom's house. I watched Bree pour store-bought soup into a pot, then serve it with a story about spending hours getting Mom's recipe just right. Mom smiled weakly, too tired to notice the familiar Trader Joe's container in the recycling bin. The morning treatments are the hardest, Bree announced to our Aunt Sarah, who'd driven up from Eugene. But I've memorized all her medications, the exact timing. I bit my tongue. I was the one who'd created Mom's med schedule months ago, color-coded and arranged in daily dispensers. But pointing that out now would only upset Mom. The smell of grocery store French bread filled the kitchen, so different from Mom's homemade sourdough that used to perfume Sunday mornings. Funny how memories sneak up on you like that, sharp little reminders of what you're really losing. After dinner, I sat in my car in the driveway, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. The garage light cast shadows across Mom's garden, the one she couldn't tend anymore, the one Bree had let wither while posting about maintaining Mom's beloved flowers. I picked up my phone, opened voice notes, and whispered, "I'll let her have this curtain call." Then I burn it all down. The screen lit up with a text from Bree, a selfie, her face pressed close to Mom's, both of them smiling. Mom's smile looked genuine, peaceful even. She believed every lie, every performance. The caption knocked the wind out of me. Just us girls, no more lies between us. My finger hovered over the evidence folder on my phone. One click and I could end this charade. Show Mom the truth about her precious baby girl. Expose every forged document, every manufactured email, every fake tear. But I remembered the way Mom used to read us bedtime stories, doing different voices for each character. How she'd kept believing in Santa Claus long after we knew the truth, just to preserve the magic. Maybe, in these final days, she needed one last story to believe in. I texted back a single heart emoji and started my car. Some lies we tell to hurt others. Some we endure to protect the ones we love. But karma? Karma keeps perfect time. And Bree's clock was ticking. 3 days after we buried Mom, I met Marla at Peterson & Associates downtown. The leather chairs in the conference room felt too soft, too comfortable for what we were about to do. My coffee sat untouched, growing cold beside the stack of papers we'd spent months compiling. "Ready?" Marla asked, spreading out the final filing documents. 480 pages of methodically organized evidence, witness statements, and digital forensics. I nodded, throat tight. "Do it." Remember when you were a kid and tattling felt like the worst betrayal? This wasn't tattling. This was justice served cold, with receipts. Marla's team had coordinated everything down to the minute. At exactly 9 a.m., our counter lawsuit hit the Superior Court clerk's desk. By 9:05, press releases landed in every major outlet's inbox. At 9:15, Marla's PR contacts started their synchronized social media blast. I went home and curled up on my couch, laptop open, watching it all unfold. The first headline popped up on Portland Daily News. Local realtor accused of fabricating elder abuse claims against sister. My phone buzzed. A text from Marla. Channel 6 is outside her brokerage. I flipped to the local news livestream. There was Bree, trying to dodge cameras in her signature blazer, mascara already starting to smear. The reporter's voice cut through. "Ms. Jensen, can you comment on allegations that you forged evidence to frame your sister?" By noon, 3 more stations picked up the story. The business blogs caught wind next. Portland real estate agent suspended amid fraud investigation. Then the elder care forums, the same ones where Bree had played grieving daughter for months, started sharing screenshots of her deleted posts alongside our evidence. "Your documentation is devastating," Marla texted. "The forged check story is trending." I scrolled through my feeds, numb. Every platform where Bree had paraded her fake caregiver story was now flooded with the truth. Her carefully crafted image crumbled in real time. At 2 p.m., her brokerage's HR director released a statement. "We take allegations of fraud seriously. Ms. Jensen has been suspended pending investigation." By dinner, local caregiving organizations had scrubbed her from their volunteer rosters. The donation page she'd created vanished. Her Instagram went private. Still no call from her. I made tea. Mom's old chamomile blend still sat in my cabinet, and forced myself to check voicemail. 5 new messages. The first 4 were reporters. The last one was Bree. "Claire?" Her voice cracked. "Why are you doing this to me? I'm your sister. A sob. "Please call me back. Please." The same pleading tone she'd used on Mom for years. the same victim act that had worked so many times before. I deleted it without calling back. The mail arrived around 7. Between credit card offers and grocery flyers sat a thick envelope from the county courthouse. Inside, 2 separate summons sheets listed criminal complaints against Bree, one for criminal defamation, another for digital fraud. My hands shook as I read the charges: identity theft, document forgery, perjury, each charge backed by evidence we'd meticulously gathered while Bree thought she was winning. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "You've destroyed your sister's life. Hope you're happy." One of Bree's friends, no doubt. But they had it wrong. Bree had destroyed her own life, one calculated lie at a time. I'd just shown everyone the receipts. I walked to my window, watching the October rain blur the streetlights. Somewhere across town, Bree was probably crying to anyone who'd listen, spinning this as another example of how the world wronged her. But this time, there was no mom to comfort her. No sympathetic audience to manipulate. Just cold, hard evidence and consequences she couldn't charm her way out of. The criminal summons sat heavy on my coffee table. 2 days to respond, the paper said. I picked up my phone and texted Marla. They filed criminal charges. Her response came quickly. Good. Let's see her try to fake her way through those. The courthouse air felt different that morning. Stiffer. More final. I sat next to Marla in the 3rd row, watching Bree's attorney shuffle papers with trembling hands. The evidence we'd submitted had left them scrambling for weeks. Judge Harrison entered, his face carved from granite. The room stilled. After reviewing the extensive documentation in this case, he began, I find the evidence of deliberate fraud and malicious defamation to be overwhelming. My heart thudded against my ribs. Across the aisle, Bree's shoulders hunched forward. The defendant's actions show a calculated pattern of deception, including forged documents, falsified statements, and deliberate manipulation of legal proceedings during a vulnerable family period. I thought of Mom then, how she'd looked in those final days, believing Bree's lies. The memory stung like antiseptic on an open cut. This court awards the plaintiff damages in the amount of $2.8 million, plus all legal fees and associated costs. Judge Harrison's gavel cracked like thunder. Ms. Jensen, your conduct is being referred to the State Bar for criminal investigation. Bree crumpled in her chair. For a split second, our eyes met. I expected to see hatred or defiance. Instead, I saw something worse. The same manipulative plea she'd used on Mom all those years. My stomach turned. Outside, autumn wind whipped leaves across the courthouse steps. Marla squeezed my arm and whispered, It's over, for her. You rebuild. She was right. The victory felt hollow and complete all at once, like winning a game you never wanted to play. 3 days later, I stood in our family home's kitchen, holding the newly recorded deed. My name, printed in clean black letters. The house felt different now, emptier without Mom's presence, lighter without Bree's shadow. Remember how Mom used to burn vanilla candles every Sunday? The phantom scent still lingered in the curtains. I traced my fingertips along the counter where she'd taught me to roll Christmas cookies, where she'd listened to my teenage drama, where she'd held my hand after my divorce. The silence pressed in. Somewhere upstairs, a floorboard creaked. The same one that had announced Mom's midnight trips to the kitchen during her bad nights. My throat tightened. For a moment, guilt crept in. Was I wrong to take it all? Then I remembered Bree's Instagram posts from this very room, her performative grief, her calculated destruction of my reputation. The guilt evaporated like morning dew. A week passed in a blur of paperwork and phone calls. My real estate agent, Sandra, arrived with her crisp blazer and professional smile. We walked the property together, discussing market values and staging options. It's a strong seller's market, she said, clipboard in hand. We'll list aggressively. I nodded, watching her plant the for sale sign in the front lawn. The white metal gleamed in the autumn sun, clean and final as a full stop at the end of a sentence. Bree's words echoed from years ago. This is my forever house. Mom promised. She'd said it during every holiday, every family dinner, every chance she got. Another manipulation, another assumed ownership of something that was never solely hers. The sign swayed slightly in the breeze. I stood there, remembering all the times I'd swallowed my words, stepped aside, played the responsible one while Bree played the victim. All the times I'd dimmed my own light to let her shine. But not anymore. I adjusted my coat collar against the chill, fishing my car keys from my pocket. The metal was cool and solid in my palm. Real. Like the victory we'd won. Like the truth we'd exposed. Leaves skittered across the driveway as I walked to my car. The for sale sign caught the light, a beacon of change, of endings and beginnings. She'd played for pity, building her case on tears and manipulation. I'd played to win, backing every move with evidence and truth. Game over. I believe stories like this find us for a reason. If this one touched you, please subscribe. I share a new one every day, and tomorrow's might be the one your heart's been waiting for.